Last year I came here, there was a lot of construction on 21st. Looked like forever, but they got that figured out. Looks good right now. It's getting easier and easier to get here. And I always appreciate the Rockstar parking. Of course, you got to get here at 5:30 in the morning to get it. But if you're here, take advantage. And here we go. This is a 4x400 meter relay. So 4 different athletes will run 400 meters apiece. And it's run very much like you'd run the 4x100 meters, in that typically the best runner is either first or fourth. It's either the leadoff leg or the anchor leg. Second leg is asked to sustain the lead. Third leg can be a difference maker. And then the anchor, typically your best athlete. A pretty good start so far for Spring Hill, Basehor, Linwood, and Andale, as we get set to conclude our first lap. Lane 8, in fact, is Clearwater. Maybe a surprise leader, but here comes
Baldwin has taken the lead late in his first lap.
First handoff, I think it's going to go to Wamego. Oh, lane 4. Lane 4 was Andale. Andale got the first leg.
Again, Andale with the best time coming into this event at 4:06.22 in this preliminary group.
And here they cut to the inside. There's the straddle mark. Comes about 600 meters into the race. First leg is done. We're on the second leg here. Girls 4x400 meter relay. Andale out in front. That looks like, I don't know, I can't tell you exactly. It looks like Abby Smarsh. Could that possibly be her? Andale recognizable, gold and black uniforms. And it looks like a kind of a U right in the front of the jersey. That is not Abby Smarsh. I think we've seen her before so far, but the first handoff looks like it's going to be a new leader, at least temporarily. Greg Baldwin took the lead on the second leg, and now Andale takes it right back on the exchange.
And
Andale just had a better exchange, took the lead. Oh boy!
On this third leg,
it goes from 5 to 10. We've seen her before.
Yep, there's Andale. Got a logo.
Mark goes to 2:36 and counting. This is the first preliminary heat, girls 4x400 meter relay. Now with 100 meters to go. Andale with a sizable lead now over Baldwin.
This almost ran like an anchor leg in this third leg for Andale. They really stretched it out. Let's see what they do. They do even more here on the final leg.
There's Abby Smarsh. Yeah. There's Smarsh. Yeah.
I would expect her to even stretch it further.
Lead goes from 20 meters to 30 meters in a hurry, as Andale with the lead on the back stretch. Hitting 3:30. Will she break? Will they be able to break 4 minutes? I think they're off the pace at the moment.
Baldwin still in second place. Quite a distance between Baldwin and Andale for first and second, but then Baldwin quite an advantage over the rest of the field as well.
And Baldwin's hanging right in there. In fact, the gap has closed a bit. I don't know if it's going to close enough, but there's about 120 meters to go. We're going to get chased from Baldwin. Smarsh is getting challenged, and here comes Baldwin. The gap is closed to 10 meters. With 60 meters to go, Abby Smarsh trying to hold off the competitor from Baldwin, and it's going to be Andale, then Baldwin in the first preliminary race of the girls Class 4A 4x400 meter relay. 1 and 2.
Do great to be with you guys.
I'm glad to have you back for another year alongside Leon Liebel and Chet Copeland on the sideline. We're going to get Rod Zook involved here. In fact, Rod, you're the second shift guy. I don't know what that means to you, but that's how I see it.
That's okay with me because I get to see a lot of the small schools and some great track.
Well, I want to tell you that doesn't mean junior varsity, though.
No,
you're
it does
a
not.
starter in my book.
And you'll see that later.
Frontenac, Paola, St. George, Rock Creek, Andover Central, Jeff West, Lindsborg, Smoky Valley, Towanda Circle, and Independence lanes 1 through 8 here as we head to the first leg. Again, staying in their lanes the entire time through the first leg and then just a portion of the second leg. And it looks like a terrific race so far run by Jeff West. Rod, tell me about the girls' 4x400 meter relay. You got to get the baton exchanges. They are not overrated.
Well, they're not. The first one is okay because you're in the stagger, but the second and third exchanges are in a stack, and you're lining up shoulder to shoulder, getting that baton. And the first thing, of course, is take care of it. Don't get it slapped out of your hand right there. The second thing is don't get tangled up with somebody else that has already finished their race and you're just getting the baton, and don't get snared by someone that's just out in front of you ending their race.
In fact, clean handoff for Andover Central. Jeff West is chasing, and Rock Creek is in third. They're lined up in 4, 5, 6 right together. But there is a point of lining up next to your biggest challengers being in lane 4, 5, and 6. But that's really just for the leadoff leg as opposed to when they do the straddle.
Well, and you're going to merge now. You see them moving into lane 1. Now comes how much can you chase if you're back third, fourth, fifth place? How much energy can you expend to try to get yourself up to the top 2, up into an automatic qualifying spot? How many chances do you take if you're sitting back there in the middle of that pack? And that's where the strategy of this race makes it one of the best in track.
All right, so we're in the second leg here. They get the straddle, about 100 meters to go, at least until that handoff. And this is what Rod is talking about. And it's especially nerve-wracking if it's close. But I can tell you this, Andover Central's got it made at the moment, but everybody else is going to scramble to get position here.
Well, you want to get a good start right here. You want to get out quickly. You almost want to be just short of full speed. You don't want to, of course, make the person have to reach for you in any way, shape, or form. That person is tired. You don't want to make them have to reach out to take that baton. You want to just make it as smooth as possible. That's
why Andover Central's in the lead at the moment. I don't know if you noticed that, Rod, but while you were talking, one of the young ladies, her bib fell off, and she was trying to take the baton and also snap back her bib. I wouldn't recommend that. That would be something that would be difficult to do.
I'd be worried about the baton.
So here we are in leg number 3. The favorite here is going to be Andover Central, and then there's Jeff West right behind. But Andale and Baldwin have already run their respective events here. So they're 1 and 2, and they are in. And, you know, Leon and I have been battering back and forth about the importance of the preliminaries against the final. Do you want to save a little something for the next day? It's kind of tough to actually save something for the next day, isn't it?
Well, unless you're someone like Timothy Lambert, who's just kind of blown through the field here at a couple of events, but he's going to be a very, very busy person tomorrow. Yeah, and it's hot out here today. It is not comfortable down on that track. You're going to know how much energy you want to have to expend in these sprints because you know you're going to have a very long day tomorrow, and it's going to really count for everything tomorrow.
Big leg here, Andover Central with the lead and the baton on the anchor leg, and boy, does she look smooth. She is about as smooth as they can be, as Andover Central is going to be in that girls 4x400 meter relay. And do you have your best athlete as the leader or as the anchor leg? Which do you think?
It depends. You certainly want your 2 best, front and back, and then you want your middle people just kind of, I don't want to say maintenance because that's probably not a fair term, but you want them to keep yourselves in the fight. You want to keep your team in the fight. If you're in the lead, you want to get out well and make the other teams have to try and chase you down. If you can get out well the first 150 meters, then you've got a chance to hold everyone off because they're forced to chase after you.
Andover Central is in. They've won this preliminary race. Battle for second. And on the outside, is that Jeff West or Smoky Valley? It's Paola. Paola, which lined up in lane 2, they're going to finish up at second place. Going to make just a huge difference. You can absolutely feel it here. Class 5A, Cape Mount Carmel is in lane 1. St. Thomas Aquinas in lane 2. Shawnee Mill Valley in lane 3. Blue Valley Southwest is in lane 4. Newton in lane 5, lane 6. As the Salina Central Mustangs, Emporia Spartans are in lane 7, and Topeka Seaman is in lane 8. We've gone from Class 4A to 5A. This is the first preliminary race. Best time in this by far is Blue Valley Southwest. They ran a 4 and 47 100ths. And when you've got a time like that, you can almost be a little bit conservative, but I doubt that Blue Valley Southwest will feel like it. They need to get out to a lead.
Well, one difference between some of the bigger schools and some of the smaller schools is you may have, like you said so well earlier in the day, you can never have enough quarter milers. They can move up in speed, they can move down to races, they're about as versatile as you can get. So you may not be putting all your big guns in this race. If you're very confident that some of your 5th and 6th girls can carry the load and get yourself qualified, you may be saving some people here in the prelims.
Yeah, I agree. I think if your team wins the 4x4, I think if you checked it over the years, the team that wins the 4x4 is, if they're not state champion, they're in the top 3. It's almost automatic every year. So here we are, Class 5A. The second leg is done. I'm still looking at some of the times here. Class 5A, Bonner Springs in 1980. Suffern, McGraw, Kimbrough, and Chambers ran a 3:57. That means that all 4 competitors all ran below 60 seconds. That's kind of a magical number. It hasn't been done very often, but certainly a few teams have done it. So Blue Valley Southwest always kind of deceives me because the front of their jerseys looks like a T, does it not?
It does, but looking good. Nice arm swing, very relaxed. Hands are a little bit high maybe, but still very straightforward. Once your arms go straight forward and straight back, you don't want to flail them side to side, waste any energy. Everything's got to go straight forward and straight back in this race.
We may have a new leader, in fact. Newton making a chase on Blue Valley Northwest, or is that Mill Valley? Mill Valley into the lead. And she can run a little closer to she's really on the outside, isn't she? She's making her distance and run a little bit longer than her competitor there.
She is really on her toes, just trying to stretch it out there, get as much space as she can. Really has her head leaning back.
Mill Valley leading Blue Valley Southwest. It's 1 and 2 in this preliminary race. Newton is the defending state champion. I'm trying to find out where the Railroaders are. They're back a ways, if I'm identifying the bibs correctly, which is always a question. Home stretch here. This is the 3rd leg of the 4x400 meter relay. See how close to 3 minutes they can get.
I think we had Newton in the lead here, Mark.
Well, that's Newton in the lead. Okay, they're right there then. Okay, Newton.
Is that right?
Yeah, Newton, it is Newton, because Newton started in lane 5, and that's the identifier. So Newton leading Blue Valley Southwest, and the defending state champs are now making their, this is the anchor leg, and look how smoothly she's running, Rod. That's how you run an anchor leg.
That is how you run an anchor leg. Out quickly, then glide down the back stretch, keeping your stride, stay as relaxed as you can till you get about halfway through the last corner, and then start using those arms, using those knees, getting your legs a little higher, and getting up on your toes if you can. Now that's easier said than done in a quarter mile or at 800 meters, but if you can get into the front of your feet, then you've got a lot better stride. Your turnover's much quicker.
Blue Valley Northwest or Southwest narrowing the gap a little bit here, though.
In fact, they're within 5 meters, chasing down Newton. And I think she heard footsteps. Starts to charge a little bit. Newton in the lead. Blue Valley Southwest is in second. And barring a major change here, with 30 meters to go, it's going to be Newton. Railroaders are going to win this one. Newton is in the state finals tomorrow, along with Blue Valley Southwest. They go 1 and 2.
As funny as that kind of sounds, but just that last 10 seconds, you're just taking a deep breath and really just trying to get everything gathered back together. And now you got to start that process over.
This time, safe start. Pittsburgh, Mays, St. James Academy. And the answer was, it was a slip block because all 8 athletes or all 8 teams are represented. And I had to double check that, make sure I had my numbers right. Earlier we were assured that we'd had a false start, and the young lady looked like she had a false start, but instead their block slipped, and she ended up getting 3rd. So that worked out just fine for her. Next to St. James Academy is in lane number 5, Pittsburgh in lane 4. I think it'll be a duel between those 2 schools. Mays probably 3rd if it goes according to the way the script would look when you look at times. And St. James Academy is out in front by a bunch at the moment. Pittsburgh's actually in 5th, which is unexpected considering the time. St. James Academy will make the first handoff, and her time's going to be below 60 seconds. Indeed it is, about 58.
You know, I mentioned this earlier. One thing I've learned doing this a little bit is it is never over, though, until it's over. I've seen some big leads evaporate quickly in relays. It's amazing.
Did they front load this, stack it, or front load it as we call it, meaning you put your best kids up there and you hope that the rest of the team can hold off the charge from everyone else that is trying to chase you down. Right now, you would have to say that it's looking pretty good.
It's kind of like a baseball lineup a little bit, mix and match, maybe sometimes do the unconventional and put, a power hitter up high. Or
well, sometimes that's your only chance if you want to get in there is to try to steal one, get everybody out of rhythm, panic everybody a little bit. We saw that in the 2 mile, I believe it was in class 4A, where the kid from, one kid got out very far, got out there about 70, 80 meters. He couldn't hang on to it. But to the credit of the rest of the group that was back there behind him, they didn't panic, they didn't do anything, they just kind of stayed in there and then let the race play itself out.
And I would assume that's difficult to do.
It is difficult to do.
If you see somebody get out.
So much at stake. You've got to try to keep calm and know what you can and cannot do.
Kind of trust yourself a little bit.
You have to have great faith in your ability, and if you do, then you're going to be okay. But the whole idea behind that, getting out quick, is to instill panic in the other runners and try to make them do something that they're not comfortable with.
Well, this early lead is holding up right now.
It is holding up well.
Now, St. James Academy's lead, I've been watching it, it was about 50 meters, and now it's down to 4. Pittsburgh's third leg is running pretty well, and Mays is chasing, so the gap is closed down a bit. I think we're going to have,
we may see the anchor.
see a pretty good little finish here. But St. James Academy, it is their race here, and what is the second preliminary race of the girls 4x400 meter relay with the anchor leg to come here.
You see the head starting to wobble back and forth a little bit, really starting to labor, trying to get that last 20 meters in.
All right, let's go down the sideline. Chet Coupland, what are you seeing, Chet?
Well, anchor leg for Pittsburgh here. They're in second is Mackenzie Wilkes. She won the 3200 earlier. She also won the 800 as a freshman, won the 800 last year and the 1600. So you talk about 400 to 3200, she can do it all. Then you saw that second leg, the Turner girl from Pittsburgh. She won the long jump earlier, and she's a sprinter, now in the 400. So it's kind of a mix of all kind of athletes here in this 4x4.
Meanwhile, St. James Academy's anchor leg extended the lead from what was 40 meters to now to 60, and Wilkes is trying to close the gap. Is it too much of a lead for Wilkes out of Pittsburgh, who we saw earlier? And in fact, Chet got a chance to interview her after a win early in the day. He's closed the gap to 40, about 110 meters left. Wilkes trying to chase it, maybe too much, but here comes Wilkes. St. James Academy, 80 meters to go. Lead is 30. And St. James Academy in this second preliminary race will win it. They are in, and Pittsburgh finishes second.
Yeah, that's impressive on several different levels. St. James Academy, no slouch. I wouldn't want to call this an upset. I mean, they came in, I believe, the second best.
6A. In fact, we've reached the 6A on the girls' side in the 4x400 meter relay. And Rod, glad to have you with us. Give us, for viewers who aren't familiar with you, a little bit of our background. You did some coaching, did some running, did some radio.
A little bit of everything, a little bit of radio, lots of running over the years, and
that's what we need up here, a runner.
the running has been great. Obviously, had some great memories of running here, not just in high school, but in college, and then in Masters track eventually, which was very, very special. This track it's just fast. It looks kind of old, it looks kind of pale, and people get out there and they see it and they think, and then you get on it and you run and you go like, this is going to be fun. This track has just always been quick.
We had one young man today in his interview said the smell of this track. He got the adrenaline flowing, being here on this stage. But he said the smell of the track.
You're in a small school that you used to running in front of a couple of hundred people, and then you set foot inside this place, especially when you're a freshman. And when you look at some of these smaller schools, especially in the distance races, we're going to see a lot of freshmen here pretty soon when we get up into some of the longer races. But you set foot in here. I remember when I was a junior, I was scared to death. It just like, oh my goodness.
Now, once though that gun went off, did it disappear? Because we've heard that.
Well, it didn't for me when I was a junior. I got creamed. I mean, I was so in awe of the whole thing, and I had no idea what I was doing. And yeah, you never know how you're going to react till the gun goes off when you get to something like this. Some people just really find another gear and find something special. Sometimes you get into a race like this and it just doesn't happen. And when you run enough, you're going to have those kind of days. You just hope they're not here.
In this Class 6A event, first heat is Topeka, Washburn Rural, Blue Valley North, Shawnee Mission West, Lawrence, Garden City, Olathe Northwest, Gardner, Edgerton, and Dodge City. They line up lanes 1 through 8 here. So we are in the second leg of this first preliminary race in Class 6A. When I heard the kid talking about the smell of the track, I instantly thought of. I've been trying to. It's been messing with my brain about. Isn't it cream of Jesus that they used to have back in the old day?
Yes.
That you would rub on. That all the athletes back in the day, it has a certain odor to it. That all the athletes would rub on their legs to warm them up. Is that not right? Cream of Jesus?
That was it.
Does
Yeah,
that ring
and
a
then
bell?
atomic
Okay.
rub and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's why I never got pestered by any of my siblings in my family, because I was constantly wearing that. So.
Well, yeah, third leg here. And out in front, who are we looking at here at the moment? Looks like Garden City. Garden City's out in front.
Garden City, the second best time coming into this preliminary, so certainly a contender.
Certainly, they have great distance tradition. They've had it now since the Dahl sisters were running for them several years ago. They just turn them out one after another after another.
Here's Lawrence now with the lead. Lawrence leading Garden City. Lawrence number 1, Garden City is second. We saw Lawrence win a relay earlier in the day, so. And when the relay events have come around, the Lions have really stepped up to the challenge. And some teams, Rod, as you know, they're just relay kind of schools. It just seems like that's their tradition. And Lawrence so far has really set the table for that. Why is one school good at a relay as opposed to another?
If you have sprinters and 400-meter kids that are very diverse, you can crank out all kinds of good relays. And certainly Lawrence has shown that earlier today, and they're showing it now.
So anchor leg here, 4x400-meter relay. Lawrence had about a 7-meter lead coming out of that handoff, and now they still have it over Garden City, but this is going to be a good finish. Lawrence, then Garden City. Lawrence in the lead. They got the red jerseys, black bottoms, and Garden City, brown on white.
Well, Garden City needs to stay in this because they're going to start getting reeled in from behind, third and fourth place, starting to move up onto this group now.
Spinning toward home, Lawrence has extended the lead now to 10 meters, close to 15. Battle really is for second. Lawrence Lions trying to bring it home in the anchor leg of this 4x400-meter relay. And it's going to be the Lions. In fact, there's a new second place at the moment. First goes to to Lawrence, and Garden City falls to third.
Girls have really come, but it's a very young team, and it has shown a little bit here this morning and this afternoon.
Rod, I mentioned this earlier. It always amazes me. We see great performances every year, and people move on, they graduate, and you kind of wonder, well, can we see it again? And we always do. It's like they reload in talent across the state.
Ryan Cornelson, who is, by the way, moving on. He's going to be at Gardner Edgerton coaching football next year. Really took Hutch's program in the last 3 years and has really made it something pretty special.
And, of course, he gets that from his father, Gary Cornelson, who was a legendary football and track and field coach at Liberal.
In Liberal, how many times do you see Liberal when they had quarter milers that were just fast? I mean, everywhere, and he just turned them out one after the other. And Ryan has kind of done that with the Salt Hawk program.
Yeah, he'll be replacing Marvin Diener at Gardner Edgerton as football coach next year.
Note that they stay in their lanes through the first leg, and then through the first about 160 meters of the second leg. And boy, lane 8 is Hayesville Campus. Campus is way in front of Junction City chasing.
Now, is this a case where you say, hey, let's jump out that big lead and see what happens?
Yeah, lane 7,
lane
Junction
8.
City. That was Junction City, by the way, in lane 7. I misidentified them in lane 8, but Junction City's in lane 7. And being a defending state champ means something. Wouldn't you say, Rod? You come back and try to do what your class did before, but it's never easy because you lose those seniors, but you do have the tradition of winning from year to year.
Well, Newton has won it 2 years in a row, and they did it with some great sprinters. Some of that team is gone now, but they still have most of it intact. It's not quite as strong maybe as it was last year. Remember that 46 in a 4x1 last year. It's just mind-boggling, and they're not quite that quick this year. But they still have Atonowitz and some of the other girls that have made that team so special over the last couple of years. We'll see if they can hold on to that here for tomorrow.
I'll tell you one thing I'm watching is Junction City's second leg here comes to a conclusion. She's tired. She ran a really fast first 100 meters, and she's trying to hold off. Olathe North is chasing, so is Hutch. And this is going to be a pretty close race as they make the handoff. In fact, we got a new leader.
Boy, she just barely got that baton away. You saw how high her hands were. I mean, she's so tired she couldn't get her hands down to get any kind of arm swing. Made that handoff very difficult.
Olathe South is in the lead. Hutchinson's chasing in Junction City, which had the lead by 30 meters or more. Falling back to second. Hutchinson's in third at the moment. Olathe South is in the lead. They started in lane 4. And now this is leg number 3. Class 6A, second preliminary race. Lawrence is in. Shawnee Mission West is in. Likely Garden City is in.
Hey Rod, another thing running here at Cessna in this environment, there's so much going on. The fans in the stands, but also in the infield. You got the volunteers. How distracting is that?
Well, it's not unless the high jump gets in your way occasionally, and sometimes it can. And
you just kind of
fairness,
tunnel vision. I mean,
you just kind of got to block it out. The big thing I always try to teach my kids is something. Just look 10 yards ahead of you, or at the backside of someone. Hopefully you don't have to look at the backside of someone, but if someone's out in front of you, stare at their back and just start trying to, I don't want to say will yourself up there, but just start trying to reel them in. And that's, try to just concentrate on those things. It's hard to stay calm in this environment. It really is, because there's so much at stake. But yeah, as calm as you can stay and concentrate on what you're doing, then you're okay.
We go Olathe South. Talk about strong. I look at that running style, and I think just strong, leaning into it, grinding for every step, long steps. Olathe South is in control of this race with about 30 meters to go, thanks to the style of their anchor leg being run at the moment.
Well, and the stride is long, but it's getting turnover. It's not necessarily how long or short your stride is. It's how quick it is. It's how many times you can get your feet down to the ground and get that turnover, and that is a great stride.
I want to see if she's going to beat 4 minutes. Getting pretty close. 3:57 with about 20 meters to go, and not going to break 4 minutes. Going to be very close. Olathe South wins it in this preliminary race. Olathe South, and I think Wichita Southeast may have gotten second.